Hey everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here with the movie review of The Wolverine. This is a movie that came out on July 26th. I said I was going to do a review for it, but this is a little late. The movie's been out for about 2 weeks now, so again, I apologize for the lateness of this review, but I'm here to review it, so let's talk. First of all, even though this movie's been out for 2 weeks, here's my non-spoiler review, because I will be getting into some spoilers so if you don't want to hear any, here's the non-spoiler review first. Pretty much, short version, once Hugh Jackman is back, he owns the role of Wolverine. He proves why he's the best man for this job. Also, this movie is way better than Origins. It's pretty much the Wolverine movie that everyone expected Origins to be, but unfortunately we didn't get it. So instead, we had to wait about 5 years, and now we have the Wolverine. It's awesome. Pretty much. Also, if you love the first comic, if you love the first Wolverine miniseries by Chris Claremont and Frank Miller, I would recommend seeing this film. Although some characters might be a little, I'd say, off balance, but they work in a way. I'd say, yeah, this is definitely a movie you do not want to miss, especially if you're a fan of the X-Men franchise. Okay, now I'm gonna get into some spoilers. Okay, things that I did like about this movie. Once again, Hugh Jackman. The guy is basically everyone loves him as Wolverine. He's great. Once again, in this movie, he proves why he's the best there is at playing Wolverine. I mean, even though lately he is the most iconic actor he's pretty much the only live-action Wolverine we've seen. Hugh's been awesome. I would say that although after Days of Futures Past, I think he is considering retiring from the role, as he was quoted as saying he needs a compelling reason to return. And I think personally, if the way the Wolverine the way the Wolverine, a lot of people have liked it. I think what happens next for Logan depends on what happens in Days of Futures Past. I mean, I think that it's possible Logan could, due to all the time travel, Logan could get his memories back, and that could lead into some more stuff. Possibly another sequel with maybe Sabretooth. So yeah, basically what they need to do is try to make another. If they want to do another Wolverine solo film, I would say try to make it good. Make it something that honors the character, and something that would get Hugh Jackman back and to return to the role, because this movie definitely proves that there is no one else that can do this role. Also, I did mention that for fans of the Frank Miller, Chris Claremont miniseries are going to enjoy this. Well, it's not exactly it uses similar elements to. It uses similar characters and elements, like the setting in Tokyo, Japan. Also, Mariko, who was the love of Logan's life after Jean Grey. So there are a few differentiating elements between this and the first 4-issue miniseries, but again, it really just takes elements of them and tries to make it into their own story that I think still works. And that's one of the things I want to get into. The Silver Samurai. The Silver Samurai in the comics, I believe, was Mariko's half brother, but in the movie, though, the Silver Samurai's real civilian identity, Satoshi. I can't really remember his name, but its last name is Harada, and he's pretty much was Mariko's former boyfriend, who's now leader of the Black Ninja Clan, who's apparently, again, spoiler, working for the Elder Yoshida, who we saw in the trailers, who wants to somehow absorb Logan's healing factor. And also, the Silver Samurai armor appears as both an ancient Yoshida clan family heirloom, and also as the giant. Good news, Silver Samurai that we saw in the trailers that Logan was fighting isn't a robot. It's actually a robotic cybernetic suit that is at the end of the movie revealed to house the Elder Yoshida after. Oh wait, I wrote his name down. Ichiro Yoshida. after he faked his death in the movie. So pretty much, and again the armor does play a role in this too, as in it's pretty much the method that Yoshida was going to use to absorb Logan's healing factor. And another good thing that did have me a little worried about the film was apparently some people they thought that Logan would be losing his healing ability for good. Good news though is that it wasn't it wasn't completely gone. It was just like really retarded. Like it was started to become reduced. Logan was getting fatal gun. I mean, come on. I mean, in the beginning though, at the funeral scenes, we saw Logan take a shotgun blast to the chest, and he still walked away from that. So yeah, still they worked the healing factor, but they reduced it. I mean, Logan is a lot more vulnerable. Okay, he can get hurt. He can bleed now. He gets tired after a long day and stuff. So that was very interesting to see. That was definitely something that really hasn't been done with Wolverine in the movies, but it's good to see it here. And also the other characters, Mariko, who again is in the comics the love of Logan's wife, and eventually they do get engaged to be married, but unfortunately Mariko dies. In the movie though, we also have Logan not just sort of developing feelings for Mariko, but also he's getting over the loss of Jean Grey. Jean Grey, as you know, died in X-Men 3 when Logan was forced to kill her in order to stop her from going crazy and killing people. So Logan's pretty much dealing with Jean Grey appearing in having nightmares about Jean, also hallucinations about her. Good news is Famke Janssen reprises her role. If I'm getting these names wrong, I'm sorry, or mispronouncing them again, I apologize. She does reprise the role from the X-Men films, and I think that's great. It really sells the whole feelings Logan still has for Jean and how he's slowly getting over her death. I would say right now, if there was I'd say it's a great thing because it kind of shows that at the beginning where we have Logan living in the mountains and stuff, he's in the 4th stage of grief, depression, but now it kind of brings him into the 5th stage, acceptance. And also there is romance between Logan and Mariko, but it slowly develops over the film. It doesn't feel, personally, I didn't think it felt forced. That was great because I knew they were gonna. I kind of knew that from the trailers they would probably do something with Logan and Mariko, but I didn't want them to outright have them fall in love. They just let it be something that, there was no real romantic. I don't think there were really any romantic scenes until after Yoshida was defeated, and in the end we have Logan and Yukio going off on their own adventure. And oh yeah, that's another character, Yukio. In the original 4-issue miniseries, she really didn't have that much of a relationship with Mariko. She was just kind of someone Logan met, and and the part of the comics that they did get right was that she was sort of Logan's. In the movie though, she was kind of Logan's side. I don't want to say sidekick, more of, well, she described it as being Logan's bodyguard, which, let's face it, he was losing his healing factor, he needed one. But I would say she's more of a sidekick partner. It would be kind of reminiscent, I think, of X20, no, not really like X23, but it's kind of like maybe Batman and Carrie Kelly in the Dark Knight Returns universe, something like that. And it's very nice. And in the end, though, and again, at first Logan meets Yukio, he's a little impressed, and over the course of the film, he starts to develop a respect for her, and at the end, they both kind of go off on their own adventure. Those are pretty much everything I liked about it. One more thing. No, I'm gonna save the last thing that I liked for the end because it deals with the next movie. The only real con I can think of was just Viper, the character known as Viper. I mean, yeah, she was involved in a 2-issue X-Men story arc that was sort of an epilogue to the Wolverine miniseries, but her role in this was just pretty much similar to Ben Kingsley's Mandarin in Iron Man 3. She was just, at first you think Viper's behind all this, she was responsible for the nanobot, it's revealed that she created the nanobots that latched onto Logan's heart and somehow stopped his healing factor. You think that she's behind all this, but I was watching this. I was like, wait, why does Viper want all this? Like, why is she? And it's revealed that she's actually just pretty much a front man for the real villain, Ichiro Yoshida, who's, again, at first you just see him, and, in the trailers, he comes across as this guy who's just like, okay, he's on death's door, and he saw Logan, he just obviously wants to take on Logan's healing factor just so that he could, survive a little more. But then, as the movie goes on, you start to realize this guy is obsessed with it. Like, he doesn't just want to... It's not just because he's dying, it's because he wants immortality. And that's essentially what Logan's healing factor is. It's immortality. Well, not really. He can still drown, get his decapitated, stuff like that. But it really... You start to see Yoshida less as this helpless old man who's willing... You start to see Yoshida less as this whole guy Logan saved who wants to prolong his life a little more, and you start to see him more as just a madman who's willing to do almost anything to extend his life. And the last thing, and unlike all the other X-Men movies, this one actually did have, X3 also had something like this, post-credits scene which takes place 2 years after the movie, and it does lead into Days of Futures Past. I cannot believe it. What happens is Logan, the post-credits scene, it takes place 2 years. It says it takes place 2 years after the events of this movie, and Logan is going through airport security where he meets none other than two men from his past, Magneto and Charles Xavier. Both reprised by Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, respectively. That was just... I saw that post-credit scene, and I'm like, okay, first, when I saw the post-credit scene, Logan glances at TV, and there's an ad for Trask Industries, who we know makes the Sentinels. But then suddenly, we get Magneto, then Patrick Stewart. I'm like, wow, this is... Magneto repowered, I was a little surprised, but the real shock was Xavier being alive. I can understand there could have been some explanation as to how Magneto regained his powers at the end of X3. They kind of teased that a little, but now I have no idea how Charles Xavier could come back. And also, if he is alive, why is he still in the wheelchair? That was something that just struck me. That was the only thing that took me out of that scene, was just that he's back to life, but he's still in the wheelchair. Wait, what? If he came back to life, when his legs still work, I think that would have been more of a shock if Charles's legs still worked. But yeah, that's just me. But overall, I enjoyed that post-credit scene. I think it was a great lead into Days of Futures Past. Now I'm really excited for that movie to come out. But back to the movie at hand, The Wolverine. It's awesome. I highly recommend it to X-Men fans, Wolverine fans. You need to see this movie. It's better than it's pretty much everything we wished Origins could be. Especially since we don't have Barakapool in it. Overall, my rating for the Wolverine is 4 out of 5 stars. Definitely amazing. So yeah, that's my review of the Wolverine. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.